guys can feel free to start with questions.
Jeff, I'll start with where Tim left off the last time. Last question. Mizzou just beat South Carolina. Obviously, takes down number 1 team in the country. If you guys win Sunday, obviously you guys would be number 1, at least in the USA Today Coaches Poll.
There's a lot to be done before that.
But do you think about? I mean,
no. I don't even think about it. Georgia Tech's on my mind right now. They beat UConn the week before we did by 13 at home, held them to 44 points. So it's going to be a great basketball game. I've got a ton of respect for what Nell has done at Georgia Tech and their post play, their guards, they're veterans. I mean, you've got, some COVID kids is what I like to call ours. Like Chelsea Hall is the same way. She's played 4 years, but she got the extra year with COVID. And Tech's got a few of their post players came back. Kubai, just impressed. If you look at their stats from their UConn game, I think she out-rebounded them herself in the second half. And we had a fit trying to box UConn out. So it's going to be a ball game.
And then on today's game, I mean, the fourth quarter, you sat your stars, and Peyton, Liz, Narika, Mikasa, they did really well in that fourth quarter. How important is it for you to get them on the floor and for you guys going down the stretch? Well,
it's important because we're going to have depth. I mean, the one thing we're really good at right now is fouling. So, we fouled a bunch. We put them to the free throw line 26 times. We're just fortunate they only made 13 of them. So if we're going to get ourselves into foul trouble, we're going to have depth. And that's one thing that we've been trying to build and trying to establish. And I was just really pleased with how well we performed. And I thought the third quarter we looked really good offensively. We shared the basketball. I thought Emily played as good as I've seen her play, and that's going back to our Michigan game. I thought she's played well all year, but I thought the way she passed the ball was really, really impressive and had a very, very good basketball game. I mean, scored 14 points in 17 minutes. So it's the efficiency that's impressive to me. I thought Haley played well. I thought she shot the ball with confidence, had really good arch on it. And it's nice when you can give everybody the opportunity to get on the floor and play. It's what you want to try and do as a coach, because everybody's coming to practice and competing. But I'm not sure you'll see this same amount of numbers on Sunday at Tech.
Jeff, is it too simple to attribute the first quarter to rust after a long delay?
No, because we actually shot the ball really well in practice this afternoon. We really shot it well. But they're just sometimes shots don't go in. And, I mean, we took good shots, and a lot of them were in and out. It's not like we were off by, we're throwing up bricks left and right. I mean, had at least 3 or 4 of them that were halfway in and kicked out. So it just happens. But what I liked was we continued to defend, and then we just started to make some of those shots. And we end up going 10 for 16 in the second quarter. But again, what we've got to do a better job of is not fouling.
Jeff, you kind of took my question right there by mentioning that the shots don't fall early, but your defense kind of steadies you throughout. Is that maybe the most impressive thing about this team so far, is that you can defend that well and stay in front?
Yeah, that's what we have to do. I mean, that's one of the things that we really stressed in the off season before we started up, and then we continue to work on in the preseason. But really what changed the game was the first half. I think we turned them over 10 or 11 times, but we only had like 5 points off of their 11 turnovers, where in the second half we started converting those turnovers into points. And that's where we start to make a run and start to separate things. And I think that's where Emily is as good as we've had here probably since Angel McCautry, when it comes to reading passing lanes and getting her hands on balls. That steal she had in the first half, when I think it was a 3-on-1 or 3-on-2 fast break for them, which then turned into a 3 for Kiana, was a huge play. And then she steals the one on the out-of-bounds pass and goes back up and scores. She's just got great instincts and length and really knows how to use it.
Tech next. Talk about them just a little bit. Nell Fortner's got them rolling on all each
Yeah,
cylinders
they're good.
right now. Yeah.
They're really good. As I said earlier, they're playing some really good basketball right now. They defend extremely well. I think scoring is going to be at a premium for both teams. You've got to figure out a way to try to steal a basket here or a basket there on a baseline out of bounds or a special situation, because it very well could be the first team to 55 wins. Because I think it's going to be that good of a defensive game because both teams defend well.
As you try to build depth, how do you balance that goal against the ego of your regulars and their desire to get minutes?
Well, I think if you watched our kids, they all cheer for each other. I mean, we have a great group of players that can get excited for each other's success. And I think that's one of the things that we've talked about here. And that goes all the way back to Asia Durr, and Angel before that, where when we have the opportunity to be in games like this, where we've got a comfortable lead, we're trying to get as many players playing time as we can because we're also building for the future. And you go back, it may have been 2018 season where there was probably 4 or 5 ACC games that Asia didn't even see the floor in the fourth quarter at all, in part of the third quarter, because we had leads that were in the 20s and 30s. And she was fine with that because she had done her work early and could get excited for her teammates because everybody's in practice. And I think we have the same group of players here right now that, sure, they'd all love to play 40 minutes a game. It's not possible. And they also know when we're in situations like we were at UConn and Kentucky and different places, Emily's going to play more than 18 minutes. She's going to play in the 30s, and so is Haley, and so is Kiana. But it's nice to know if we need some people, you've got Alana Smith, Norika, and Peyton that are getting valuable minutes right now. So when you've got a good group of people who can be excited for each other, it's not that hard.
Jeff, for you personally, I'm sorry, go ahead, Tim. You have a follow-up?
I was just going to ask as a follow-up, do you think that women are less selfish than men when it comes to minutes and point scoring averages?
No, I don't think so. I mean, my kids want to score too. I just really and truly believe it's the culture that we have. It's the culture that we've built over 15 years here that we get excited for each other's success because it's bad. Like it's easy to pull out a game film and watch somebody if they're sulking on the bench and you're up 25 because they're not playing. And then, that's exactly when the TV camera goes to you too. And then you look like an ass. So, I mean, it's one of the things that we talk to them about too. It's like, hey, when you're not excited and cheering for your teammates, that's when that camera goes to you, and that's when they're going to talk about you. And we're fortunate that we don't have that problem. But at the same time, I've got kids that are also excited to win. It's like I told him after our UConn game. The great thing about it was they were then getting the chance to go home. The worst thing about it was they were also getting a chance to go home. Because, every parent thinks their kid should play more. It's natural. And I said, are you all excited about where we are as a team right now? They're like, yes. I go, well, when you go home and somebody, aunt, uncle, mom, dad, or somebody says you should be playing more, tell them to kiss your, because you're happy with where we are. You like to win. And they all laughed, and that's part of it. See, they're in practice every single day, and so am I. So, you've got to be able to continue to perform in practice in order to get those minutes in a game. And now I've got kids that are doing that, and they've realized that, man, this is hard. And that's half the battle, especially when you come in as a freshman or a transfer. Like, the expectations here at Louisville are different than what the expectations are at places where they have played in the past. You know, and that's kind of what Chelsea and Emily and Peyton, you know, our new ones are all understanding now. And that's not easy to get through sometimes at the beginning of a season, especially with this portal. Because I've got Mikasa, who's been here for 4 years. So she's been here from start to finish and understands what it takes to get to where we are. But when you get the transfer portal, sometimes they don't realize why we are who we are and how hard it is, because it's not easy. I mean, it's not easy. I know our kids make it look easy at times, but I promise you, they put a lot of time in and a lot of work to be as good as we are.
Jeff, two bounce off.
I know I rambled. I'm sorry, Tim.
No, it
I
was a
wasn't
great answer.
stuttering much, so I kept going.
It was a great answer. Tim will have to use all of that quote that you just used. But to go back to where you are building that depth, you do have to take the the good with the bad when you see those glimpses. But you see the turnovers. For you personally, as a coach, with that competitiveness, is it difficult to kind of take some of the bad that comes with when you're building this depth sometimes?
No, I mean, I don't think we turned the ball over once in the fourth quarter. You know, we played some really good basketball. And the thing about it is, most 3/4 of those players had the opportunity to play in the first half too, first quarter. It's not like they're just getting in the fourth quarter. You know, Alana Smith, her game at UConn was why we're not down 13 at half. You know, she played spectacular. So what I've talked to Alana about is now expectations. Now I'm expecting that. I'm not expecting you to shoot the ball like that every night, but the effort she gave defensively and the movement she had was fantastic. And that's really the difficult thing for a lot of players is expectations. When you start to perform at a level that's high, people expect it every single night. And it's not easy, but that's the good too. It's like, heck, I like the fact that you go back 15 years ago, this fan base was just hoping we get to a Sweet 16. We'd never been. The University of Louisville never been to a Sweet 16, never seen the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. Now when we get beat in the Elite Eight, I'm getting emails asking when we're going to win the big one. You know, we can't win the big game. Well, what's the big game? You know, but that's expectations that we've built here, and I think that's great. So I enjoy those same expectations, but I'll tell you, there's a lot more pressure on it than there was 15 years ago. So our players are dealing with those same expectations, which is why they come here.
Jeff, Peyton, it looked like early on you were telling Peyton to slow down, calm down a little bit. When she kind of got into a rhythm there in the fourth quarter at 7 points, when she kind of gets into a rhythm, is that the type of performance you think you can see from her?
Yeah, I do. I mean, Peyton, it's like I told her. I put her in there, and in the second half, and within 6 seconds, she took a shot. I mean, it's pretty impressive, you know, to be able to get that. And I'm like, at least touch the ball once. Run up and down one time, you know, or at least, you know, you catch it, you pass it, and it comes back to you. And she laughs because she understands. But what you saw tonight is I know what we can get from her. She's continuing to learn. It's a different level of play. She's been working really hard on her ball handling, which is starting to show. She's more comfortable. But she is one that I think is going to continue to get more playing time and be able to help us because we're going to need her to play because of her size and her ability to score.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think
I'll do that.
Please do. I'm often wrong. It's my understanding the criteria to have your number retired here is consensus first team All-America. Russ Smith is getting his number retired later or next month. Is Asia Durr in the planning stages?
You know, I haven't even had discussions about that. You know, I would think we have a few kids that have played here, you know, in our 15 years that would be in some discussions. I mean, you've got Asia, Dana was a 2-time All-American, consensus All-American. So we have a few. We just haven't gotten to that point yet. And I've got no problem waiting a little bit and go from there.
Jeff Noriega.
I'm still waiting for my number to get retired in Northern Kentucky. I think I'm like 197th on the scoring list.
It's pretty good.
Thank you.
Hey, Noriega made a couple of big plays in the fourth, had a really nice pass. How have you seen her confidence grown, particularly on the offensive end?
She's continuing to grow and to get better and better. We had a really good talk today. There's still a lot of things where the language barrier at times is still like she'll want to say switch, she'll want to say something to somebody in the heat of the moment. And as she told me today, what comes to her mind is the Japanese word. Well, unfortunately, there's nobody else on my team who's going to know what she's saying. So at times she'll be like, and then when I think of the English word, it's too late. The play's all already passed. So there are things like that she's continuing to grow and learn from. But I thought she was really good today. I thought she passed the ball well, made some really nice plays, especially that pass to Liz there in the fourth quarter. And it's fun to see him smile. It's fun to see all of them have the opportunity to get out there on that floor and play with some joy. Because that's one thing as a coach that we all like to see too. And I appreciate it. Like I've got a lot of these players that were fine not playing in the fourth quarter because they do get excited for their teammates, and I think that's what makes this team special.
Is there, without an Asia or a Dana on this team, without a player who's dominating the ball, is your balance give you any sense that maybe this has a better team or better chance to win the big one that you referred to earlier?
Well, I mean, you go back to 2018. That's as of right now, that's probably one of the best teams we've had here. And it's when you get to the Elite Eight, the Final Four, it takes a little luck too, and it takes an officiating here or there, a ball get kicked out of bounds, whatever it might be. Yeah, that craziness too. So I look at this team. What excites me about this team is we have so many players that have the ability to step up. I thought, again, Emily shot the ball well again. Olivia put the ball in the basket, did some really nice things. Haley, then you've got Peyton, you've got Liz. Kiana had some great looks. 2 or 3 of them went in and out. But that's what makes us so good against UConn. I think she scored 11 points in the third quarter. Well, okay, she didn't shoot the ball as well tonight, but that's okay because we have others. But what allows those others to be able to get really good shots is the attention that she draws from other teams. So I think it's going to be like this the entire year, which is a good thing for us because you really have to guard everyone on the floor. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate you.